So yeah, I just thought I'd start by saying like we're moving away from long corners, more towards chicanes. Now, the most important thing in chicanes, I feel like it's the first entry curb, guys. I've said this for the longest time. I feel like that's where the money is. So if I give you a chicane like this one, or maybe not that one, we'll come back to that one because that's a challenge. Let's go 6 and 7. So you come in like this and it goes around like that. So chicanes, quick change of direction, left and right, under braking is a key part of chicanes for me. Like high-speed chicane is very different. All of these are under braking and characterized by the curbs, these ones. Los pianitos, for those in Argentina. So what I want for the drivers to do is as follows. Number 1, brake and turn into the corner. And then just as you get to this part here, bang, wind on the armful of steering lock, because what you want to do is unload the left front inside tire. That's this one here, the one that's going to make contact, by the way. We want to unload that as best as possible. Unload means get it like off the ground, get the weight off it, get it slightly in the air if possible. Just unload that one so that when we connect in with that first entry curb, you've got the best chance of a compliant experience. Not only that, you're going to shortcut the racetrack. So we instead of us going around like that, we're essentially just going to shortcut. So we meet here. So we're going to shortcut. That's the first advantage. You can carry more speed in. And then because we're on from this position, we can now go around the next part and carry speed out. So I feel like that's the biggest win if you can take the first entry curb, because from that point onwards, if I just draw a line down that middle point there, from that point onwards, it's all just open the steering, beautiful throttle introduction. You can just bury the throttle and it's as straight as possible. Whereas if you go around like we drew before, like you're going around here, now you're in trouble because you've got steering lock on whilst you're trying to turn and exit. And that's hard. And then sometimes you'll see drivers take the exit curb. That's also not what you want whilst you're under throttle. You want to keep things as comfortable and as stable as possible. Now, that's what I've seen for the longest time that works. Now, you want to set the car up, obviously soft, compliant. Look, I'm not vehicle dynamics engineer, but you know, you want to make it such that the car can deal with that, no problem, right? Now, in Imola, we saw this, and like for the longest time, guys, I'll just come back to me for a second. For the longest time, I've known this, but I've never ever heard anyone else speak about it. I've always thought, yep, the first entry curb, unloading the inside front, connecting in with that curb, that's the way to go. But I never ever heard anyone else say it until Jacques Villeneuve was down in practice at the Variante Alta chicane in Imola, and he started talking about chicanes. He started talking about technique in chicanes. And my ears like sprung up. I'm like, what's going on, Jack? What are you saying? Let's play that now and verify everything we just said. Don't take it from me. Take it from world champions. Let's see what Jack says.
There's Jacques Villeneuve, trackside for us at turn 14. Over to you, Jacques.
Yeah, Variante Alta, if you use names like we used to in the past. And it's an exciting place to be because you really see the drivers at work, the aggressiveness, the precision in driving, and there's an art to going through these chicanes. You know, the old-fashioned kind of chicanes that were put in place to remove a straight line back in the day. There's curbs, and the way to take a curb is very specific. You want to be able to hit the curb when your inside wheel is slightly offloaded so you don't get a big jolt. And the drivers who manage to do that, they don't bounce up that much. That means that their tires stay on the ground, and they all avoid the second curb because that's when you have to get on the power. You don't want the car to be bouncing there. So you need a car that is very, very directional, that changes direction quickly, that is precise. And that's how you can go quick through these corners. And you see which driver is super aggressive and trusts his car. And they manage to just go through these curves. I've seen some cars today, the Red Bull, the front end was bouncing up a lot, very harsh. And some other cars, the Haas particularly, would go over the curb as if there was no curb. So either the setup of the car, the driver managing to just unload the front wheel a little bit when he hits that curb, manages to land in the second part of it, and then direction change and get on the gas. A lot of time can be made here, but so easy to make a mistake because you carry a lot of speed and momentum into the corner, and sometimes the rear wants to come around just when you do the direction change because you've been maybe going a little bit of understeer, and you don't want to understeer in these kind of corners. You lose 2 or 3 tenths super easily. You also hear some drivers downshifting 1 gear more. That's to slow the car down, to put maybe a better front end, to make the car turn around. But the cars that are really well balanced don't need to go down that gear, and it's just super smooth. As I said before, when you see them go well, it's as if there wasn't a curb. Back at you.
Guys, for me, once I heard that, I was like, okay, not only did it verify and validate my own theory and understanding of chicanes, which is fine, but just the fact that someone else said it exactly in the way I've said it. And now the disconnect is that I know it, Jack knows it, but do the 20 F1 drivers on the grid know this? Let's bring up a few videos and have a look, because I was watching the Imola Grand Prix very closely, all of the chicanes, all of the curbs in a lot of detail. Let's bring up some videos now and I'll show you what was going on, because I didn't see anyone pretty much all weekend give it a proper go. My eyes were on turn 1 and 2, mainly Tamburello chicane, because I think that's where the most lap time is and it's where the lap starts. Villeneuve was down there at the Variante Alta chicane. And guys, just for context, the reason we're talking about chicane so much is understanding them, and with the right technique, that's the exact same thing that you're going to be doing this weekend in Canada. We'll get onto that in a second, but I'm still setting the table for the chicanes and how you take them and the correct way to go. Let me show you guys now what I saw in Imola. Some, in my opinion, bad driving because they weren't doing what me and Jack are saying. Let's have a look now. All right, so this is during the race. This is Hamilton going around turn 1 and 2, like completely around. You did barely touched any of the curbs. This is Leclerc. Again, like, what is that? I don't know. A little bit on the first one. But now you see the problem is that he has to get out of the throttle when he makes contact with the second one. I don't like that. This is Lawson. This was Lawson doing the exact opposite of what me and Jack Villeneuve said. He went around the first one and took the second one. That's why you don't want to take the second one, because throttle plus curb is not good. This is Lando struggling with the entry. He had the right side of the car just touch the grass on the entry there. And again, you don't really want to be aiming for that because you're aiming for this inside curb here. This is Colapinto, similar to Lawson in the sense that he didn't take enough of the first one. There, that's not greedy enough. He took more of the exit one. Now the trouble starts, Franco. So like from Lewis Hamilton, from Sir Lewis Hamilton to Franco Colapinto and everyone in between, I didn't see good technique. I got to tell you guys what I see. This is Alex Albon in FP2. Again, like, there's just bad technique, guys. Touches the first one and then the biggest part of the second one. Again, that's the exact opposite of what we're saying you need to do. Have a look at how unsettled the car is over the second exit curb. Yeah, and there's another example. The Alex missing the first part, going around, doing exactly the opposite of what we said, going around the first part, taking the second part, and then you end up in troubles. You end up in troubles like Franco, like Liam, and so on. So at this point, right, after watching 50 laps of the race, as near as makes no difference, all of the practice sessions, none of the drivers taking it well. I'm starting to reevaluate my understanding of chicanes. But then I heard Jack Villeneuve down at Variante Alta say what he said, and I'm like, well, okay. But I'm like, none of the drivers are doing this. Like, am I missing something here? I'm not sure. Maybe the cars can't do it. Maybe they're too big. Maybe they're too stiff. Maybe they're too heavy. Maybe they get too unsettled. Maybe they're not compliant enough, ground effect, etc. And towards the end of the race, I'm starting to think, yeah, maybe I need to reassess. Maybe like this is an opportunity for me to reassess what I know about chicanes. But then we see this, lap 52 and 53, Alex Albon starts to take chicanes with the correct technique, and he was the only one on the grid that I saw do that. Let me bring that up for you now. Lap 62, my bad. Bang, look at that. Beautiful. Happy days. Look at the way he can just attack Leclerc out of this chicane. Because Leclerc on the curb, you see, that's very crucial. That's important. If I just go back a second, Albon takes the first entry curb. Lovely experience. Misses the next part, and it's all throttle. It's all cream. It's like, pay me after that. Lovely. You look at the throttle here. He can just now send it at the apex and go for it. And this is in the dirty air, mind you. And you see Leclerc, by the way, just taking some of that curb on the exit. Have a look at this one here on the exit. Leclerc there. Like, that's why the car is so, you can even see how unsettled it is from the video here. And now Alex is on the attack. Good job, Alex. That's good technique. Have a look at the Villeneuve chicane. I see exactly the same thing. Alex is having a blast out there. He's in P6 right now, chasing down a Ferrari for P5. This is lovely technique from Alex Albon. So then I saw this and I'm like, well, mate, look, this is beautiful. Like, life doesn't get better than this. You know, this is like great technique in chicanes. And this is lap 63. So I had to wait the whole race to be able to see someone do this in clean air. The whole weekend to be able to see someone take the chicane with the correct technique. Lovely. You can just see how easily Alex can get on the throttle once all that work is done. The first entry curb, the car glides over it like butter and exits so nicely. Like, it was actually a joy to see. So then I start to think to myself, whoa, what is this knowledge worth? Like, you guys know, like, look, I hate comparing myself to Adrian Newey, and I would never. The guy's a legend. The guy can see air. The guy is worth lap time. Anywhere he goes, they win championships. He wins at McLaren. He wins at Williams. He's going to win at Aston Martin. He won at Red Bull. He is worth lap time. But curiosity, what is this worth in terms of lap time? Alex taking the chicanes with the correct technique come lap 62 and lap 63, and all of the other drivers in qualifying, in the race, in practice, the crashes, Colapinto, Liam Lawson, the confidence. What is it worth to be able to just say to a driver, this is the correct technique in chicanes and this is what we're going to go after this weekend? What is that worth? I don't know. Is it worth half a tenth? Is it a tenth? Is it 2/10? Is it 3/10? Add up all of the chicanes in Imola and Canada. Is it half a second? Is it a second? What's it worth for Franco? What would it be worth for Franco to take that chicane with the correct technique and make it into Q2, for example? I don't know, $10, $1 million? I'm just asking because I don't know the answer to that question. But I started to dig around a little bit and I wanted to understand that question. So what did I do? I went to Leclerc's lap to find him taking the Tamburello chicane, and I compared the telemetry to Alex Albon's lap 63. Let me just bring up the videos for a second to show you guys the laps that I'm comparing. So I'll tell you, Leclerc, this one. So check this out. I wanted to get two similar laps in clean air, relatively clean, as best as I could, right? You guys know when I give you an insight, it's going to be as best as I can. So this is Charles Leclerc, lap 45, Imola. About 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds off whoever's in front of him, Lewis Hamilton on the medium. Hamilton's already passed him, he's escaping. Leclerc on the hard tire, lap 45. He goes through the chicane with technique that I'm not a big fan of. So he misses the first part, gets a little bit on the second part, but not the end of the world. And actually, do you see the little wobble that gives him on the exit of the chicane? Have a look at the steering wheel on the exit. Okay, there. You see how Leclerc had to open the wheel for a bit and then the shaking that it does on the exit? Actually, here's a slow-mo. Have a look at this. There, look at the steering wheel. You see all that? So I'm taking that lap there, lap 45 from Charles. If I assume that's a typical run for a typical driver on any given typical day this weekend, and I compare that to Alex Albon's lap 63 in clean air, I want to compare that to this one, where Alex is in clean air, he's got rid of Leclerc, and now he's taking chicanes with the correct technique. I want to see what it's worth, and we can do that courtesy of the telemetry that we have. Now, what do I think it's worth? If I had to stab, probably 2/10. I think the way Alex can get on the throttle and drive down to the Villeneuve chicane, I reckon it's worth about 2/10 in those corners alone. So let's have a look what it's worth. The telemetry, I'll bring it up on the screen now. This is what it's worth. Let's have a look. So we've got Charles Leclerc on the top left, lap 45. I'll zoom in so you guys can see it. He did a 1 minute 20.1. And Alex Albon's lap 63, he did a 1:18.2. Now I get it. Different times of the race. I get it. One had DRS, one didn't. I get it. But we're going to push all that. This is the best comparison. No one took the chicane well until lap 63 of Imola. This is the best I can do for you guys. So now we look at the speed trace. Alex in blue with the DRS. I get it. There's heaps of delta here. Not worried about that. That's, for me, that doesn't count, right? What I'm worried about is this. How quickly Alex got on the throttle and how much lap time that was worth. So in blue, you see Alex here goes on throttle once, hard, early, fast, and there's a period here where Charles is still having that, like, did we see where he had to get out of the throttle a little bit and open the steering wheel and all that crap on lap 45? That's where I'm trying to pay attention to. How much is that worth in lap time? That exit for Alex to just open the steering wheel and nail the throttle on the exit as a result of taking the chicane with the correct technique in the first instance. How much is that worth in terms of lap time? So what did I do? I looked at the delta, and at this point, Albon's already got 3/10 on him, and this is in the middle of the Tamburello chicane, just before they go for the throttle. He's already got 3/10 because of this massive DRS. We can put that to one side. It's not important. And the cars are not important to me either at this point, because the drivers are executing such different techniques that all fades to black. That's all lost in the roundings. What is it worth? So there's a delta difference at the point at which Alex goes for the throttle of 3/10. And then because of this beautiful exit, have a look at the speed trace. Alex carries that speed all the way down to the Villeneuve chicane. Now see this little speed drop there? That's because that's Charles taking the second part of the Tamburello chicane. That's him lifting the throttle a little bit because he's got to take that exit curb, get out of it, and that delays when you can get on throttle. Whereas Alex is like, I'm gone, goodbye. So I'm measuring that. How much is that worth? 3/10 of delta to 517. It's worth just over 2/10. Makes sense. Check. Tick. Good job, Alex. But now you start to add that up in all of the chicanes. Well, now you're looking at, look at this delta's not looking good, right? So I get it, different laps, different fuel loads and so on. But that's where, any questions? That's what it's worth.